I worked as a classroom teacher. I taught first and second and fourth and fifth grades for about 15 years. So I'm pretty familiar with what you're dealing with there in the classroom, although I know it's changed a lot over the past 10 or 15 years. What I'd like to do is go ahead and just give you a brief overview using this PowerPoint, and then we're going to go ahead and get into the hands-on portion. Here's our mission as a company. It's basically this. It's keyboard mastery and improved writing skills using simple, focused technology in a classroom-based program. I don't know where you guys are as classroom teachers in terms of this keyboarding issue and so forth, but for myself, after being in the classroom for many, many years and having computers everywhere and going to the computer lab once a week and that type of thing, I got to a real big level of frustration because I knew how powerful keyboarding was. I took a keyboarding class back in high school, back in the olden days, and I found it to be incredibly empowering, especially with the advent of computers coming on. My kids had access to computers, but they couldn't input. They couldn't write on them. They were hunting and pecking no matter how many years we went to the computer lab on a once-a-week basis. They never improved. They never mastered this skill. So they move on into middle school with really bad habits and not having the ability to write their essays and papers and reports and so forth on a computer. And it was a real shame. So myself and others decided let's really work on this, and we came up with the Writer learning system. Your lab looks similar to this. This is a Writer keyboard, but this is basically what it looks like in a classroom. As you guys know, writing is a huge struggle for a lot of kids. Now, we work with a lot of special needs kids who really have challenges, but I'll bet you have many kids in your own classroom that struggle every day when it comes to writing. Even if it's just fill in the blank or short answer, it's a huge struggle for them. Legibility, spelling, just getting their thoughts on paper, the slow struggle to express yourself letter by letter, and that's what this young student is doing, letter by letter, trying to get the thoughts in his head down through his arms, through the tip of this pencil. And I know you guys see this. I mean, it's just something every teacher sees, this kind of struggle. And then when it comes to editing and revising your work, that's a struggle no matter what level the student is at or how good their writing is. But it's just so challenging. And editing and revising are key components in the writing process. And you and I know that students rarely engage in this because it's so exhausting. They don't want to have to rewrite their whole essay. They usually just hand it in and say, here, I'm done. And I think it means kind of I'm exhausted, I'm through. I don't want to do this over again. I know there's room for improvement in here, there always is, but I'm done. And they don't get into this at all. What you're going to find after using our program is that kids with good keyboarding skills, along with this writing tool, the frustration, the struggle goes away, and kids really get involved in the craft of writing. And I know in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, our writing expectations are going way, way up for students. Okay? It used to be writing a paragraph or something like that when I started teaching. That's not the case anymore. I'm sure you guys have them write multiple paragraph essays probably, and long reports and so forth. They need to have this skill, and they need to have access to a word processor. Here's the program basically. Okay, this is what it means to be classroom-based. You roll the card in, you pass out the keyboards like workbooks, and you begin the program. We know that it has to be easy for the classroom teacher. We know that you've got a lot going on, and this is kind of something added to your list of teaching requirements. But I think you're going to find that with our program, it really is very easy. Once you get started, it's pretty much self-contained. Simple and focused, that's what we have here. It's going to mean easy to manage for you, no games or distraction for kids, more time on task, it's going to be a very quick transition, and really excellent results. And what we've found is that, or what we find as we do our program, is that teachers are willing to engage in this, they're willing to take this on, they know how important it is, but they don't have a lot of time. They don't want to grade papers, prepare lessons, all this other kind of thing, put up with headaches, management headaches. We've done our best to eliminate that for you. Here's what we ask, though, from you guys. We ask you to be very, very strict when it comes to posture and hand shape. This is really what you're going to be establishing. This is the #1 goal of the program, and really your #1 objective is good posture, good hand shape. Speed and accuracy will come. Okay, so those old benchmarks of speed and accuracy, That's secondary. This is your goal. Great posture, great handshake. Practice every day. I didn't talk to Karen about this, but Karen, I hope that these folks know that practicing every day is an important part of the program. Have you guys kind of dedicated some time to do this, to work on this program every day? Has there been talks about how this fits into your classroom in terms of, like, are you going to be using it once a week, or is it you get it for 5 weeks and then give it to another teacher? Have you guys discussed the logistics of working this keyboarding program into your schedule?
4 teachers. So 2 teachers have it for, I guess there's a class, I don't know, lesson on here or something, and then the other 2 teachers have it for a chunk of weeks, and then we'll alternate them for students to compose, because we only have enough for 2 classes to have it at a time.
2 classrooms at a time?
Right. Yeah. So we'll alternate.
Okay. And it has a discussion about how much time is required, or what kind of a daily schedule or weekly schedule is required for the program to work or be effective. And this is going to be kind of a super important thing to be determined. I'll tell you about our program, the recommended program, ideal program, and then of course every school is different, and your schedules are different and that type of thing, obviously. But it's going to be like playing an instrument. Okay, my son takes piano. He knows he's supposed to practice every day. Now, he doesn't always practice every day, but just about every day he practices. And because he practices a little every day, he's improving. He gets better. And we would never enter into an agreement with him or pay a piano instructor if the practice schedule was once or twice a week, because we would know, and you would know, that there's not going to be any gains if he practices piano once or twice a week. So, and that's been the problem with keyboarding in the past, that we've had this once a week schedule in the computer lab for the most part around the country, and we get 0 in the way of results for the most part. Cursive writing, you know, that requires daily practice. We don't go to a lab once a week. My point is that we really want this to be very, very successful for you guys. And this daily practice, I would say a minimum of 3 days a week, but ideally it's 5 days a week, is going to be crucial to the success of your program. Brief daily practice. And so if you think about it, try to schedule it as a do now. So when the kids walk in after recess, or right before recess, right after lunch break, they come in, we want to have something for them to do, so they know, you know, there's that kind of expectation. As soon as you walk in, you grab your keyboard, sit down, let's get started. So you really can kind of just squeeze this in. My wife teaches 5th grade, and what she did was drop the SSR, the silent sustained reading. Every day they read for 15 minutes quietly at their desk after lunch recess. She just put that aside, and she did the keyboarding program. And her reading scores didn't plummet. But after the 6 weeks or 8 weeks, all of her kids had great keyboarding skills, and so there's a cost to it, of course, but the benefits well outweighed the cost of stopping that silent reading program. So I really, really encourage you to establish a schedule to practice a little every day with your kids in the classroom. This is really the key one of the keys to the program. The other thing we're going to ask of you is that you walk around, of course, monitor and adjust the kids. Just make sure that they're sitting up straight, their fingers on the home row, and they've got a nice home row position. But that's it. There's no preparing lessons. There's no grading lessons. There's none of that. All that's going to be done on the keyboard. We want the program to run really well. It's frustrating when you don't see growth, and you just won't. If it's once or twice a week, you just won't see the growth that you want to see from the students. I'm going to go ahead and skip this one and move on. Here it is. 3rd through 5th grade is ideal. While they're developing habits, we want them to develop good habits. So we want to get them before they develop really bad habits. And that's really before they leave elementary school. They have to develop good habits. The students that leave elementary school with bad habits usually have those bad habits for the rest of their lives. It's just too hard to change. 15 minutes, 5 days a week, 6 to 8 weeks. And then we want to have the kids apply the new skill in their daily writing. So it's the applications, like learning a foreign language. They can learn it in language class, but if they don't go out and apply it, they can lose it. So we're going to want to see the kids apply this skill on their writing assignments. On your Forte keyboards, When it comes to the keyboarding, our program is really, really strong. It will require students to maintain a home row hand position. Your eyes can't be on all kids at all times, and we understand that. We have built in, and you'll see it in just a minute, a home row requirement system that actually requires students to maintain this position throughout their lesson. We also have a shift key requirement. We want kids to learn to shift key properly. Okay, that's the left-hand pinky for the right side and the right-hand pinky for the left side. And that's a tough thing for kids. Our program requires that they use this shift key when they're shifting on this side, and vice versa. And because we require it, these are the skills that kids gain when they practice a little every day. Great home row, great shift key. That's why we call it perfect form. Before they start their lesson, this is what they're going to see. Okay, no matter what the lesson is, it'll say press all home row keys to begin your lesson. That is, they will not be allowed to begin their lesson, and they won't be allowed to pass their lesson unless they prove their fingers are properly positioned. They'll need to press all home row keys to start their lesson. And it's something that you're going to want to practice with students, because pressing all 10 home row keys is unique, it's different, it's unusual, and it takes a little practice. So one of the first things that you're going to do is practice this with the Forte turned off, and we're going to do the same thing in just a little bit. Here's what it's going to look like during a lesson. Okay, the lesson's at the top row. I'm sorry, I need to go back once. The lesson's at the top row, and you'll just type exactly what you see, so you're going to mirror it. But during the course of the lesson, it's going to be interrupted, and it's going to say press all home row keys. So you might be hunting and pecking, but then it's going to stop, and it's going to say press all home row keys. So you've got to go back to that home row, and you've got to press them all to resume. Now beyond that, we knew that kids were going to press them all and then go back to hunting and pecking. We're going to tell students basically, you need to press them all within 1.5 seconds upon seeing this signal in order to score a home row point. So we're going to basically create a value to maintaining your home row. During your lesson, it's going to flash, press all home row keys. You need to press them quickly in order to score a home row point, and you're going to need 2 home row points to pass. So while you're in the course of your lesson, it's going to be tracking speed and accuracy. It's 1.5 minutes long, but you're also going to be required to score 2 home row points. Good technique's not going to be optional. So you could be back working with another child on reading or talking to a parent at the door or something like that, and all of your students are going to be, their hands are going to be properly placed on the home row. They have to do it. They know they have to do it, and so they do. At the end of the 90 seconds, they're going to be given a score. Lesson 1 is not passed. Why isn't it passed? Well, you see right here. Home row, you only got 1 of 3 points, and you need 2 out of 3 to pass. Speed was adequate, and accuracy passed, but not the home row. So as a result, the student is going to have to redo lesson number 1. It's a mastery-based program. They have to pass the previous lesson in order to move forward. So all kids are going to be individualized. Some are going to scoot right along. Some are just going to be good at this. They're eager. They can't wait. They want to just race ahead. And other kids are going to be slower, and it's going to be a little bit more of a struggle. And that's where that monitoring by you is going to be important. We don't want anybody to be left way behind. If they are, it usually is a result of this home row, and they need some help with the home row requirement. Under the most kind of severe situations, they cannot do that home row. That can be turned off for that student. But it's such a powerful part of the program. We think it's really worth working with that student before you make the determination to turn it off. Any questions so far about just basic lesson and logistics? I promise we'll get started in just a little bit. Shift key, I already discussed that, so we'll get started that in just a little bit. I believe this is what your cart looks like. Okay, so they're going to fit snugly into individual recharging bays. A tray on the top and a tray on the bottom. Each one of these trays will need to be plugged in, and we recommend probably about once a week. Charge these maybe over the weekend. When you plug them in, you'll see a little red light glowing on the outside, indicating that they're making good contact, and that light will stay on as long as they're being charged. It won't blink, it won't turn green, it won't go away. It'll stay on while it's going to be charged, okay? There's a battery button on the Forte too that you can kind of monitor the battery level on here. When we get started, I'm going to refer to the student desktop. You're going to have your own desktop. your name, the date, files, programs on the right. Here's the key part. We're going to get started with the hands-on in just a little bit. Enter will move you forward. It's very easy to navigate. Just remember, enter takes you forward and escape takes you back. Menu key will show you options. That's basically all you need to know. What I want you to do is with your Fortes is don't turn them on, but would you just put them in front of you? And how many of you are home row typists? For the home row typists, they're usually pretty good at this because they have that habit already in place. But if you would place your hands on the keyboard, on the home row, the large gray ovals indicate the home row, and then just practice. This is important because I want you to be successful, and you're going to be doing this with your kids. I want you to press all the home row keys with the Forte turned off. Press all the home row keys. Feel them hit the bottom on all 8. I said 10. I think it's 8 home row keys. Do not press the space bar. Just the home row. But press them all down and release. You don't have to press them hard. You don't have to press them a long time. It's just press and release. Feel the bottom on each keys. Your baby fingers are included. Press them all down and release. If you freeze your fingers, kind of freeze your hands and wrists, and just kind of using your arms, press and release, you'll be fine. And that's what you're going to want to tell your kids and practice with them too. Fingers properly positioned, press and release. Press and release. The more you practice that with your students before you get started, the more successful they'll be. Actually typing the letters ASDF space ASDF, that's pretty easy to do. But that home row, when they see that flash, that's the part that's kind of the most challenging initially. 5th grade's really good though. 5th grade, the kids are really eager to learn. They pick it up on it quick, and they just really move quickly and gain the skill quickly. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the hands-on. If you guys would, I don't know if you've played with this yet or not, but if you would turn it on, what I want to do is kind of get all synchronized here with you guys. If you turn it on, if you have not logged in a student, you're going to see the student login screen. If you see the screen here, log in your name and press enter, and then log in a teacher name and press enter. Okay, so when you turn it on, are you all seeing this new login, this new student login?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. So just type in your name or a student name, and I would have my class do this. You don't have to do this for them. I pass them out, tell them what they're going to see, go here, and then say, once you've done that, enter moves you forward, escape takes you back, and when you've created that login, when you press enter, your screen will look something like what you see on my screen here. This is your personal desktop. Okay, student name, date at the right, and the programs are all listed along the right-hand side. Karen, can you kind of help out on that? Let me know when you guys have this on your screen.
Right, the dates are all wrong on them. But
okay, and we can go ahead and set the dates. And you guys have 5th graders, so they're plenty capable at doing this. Just one student or has to do it. Once it's set, it'll be set for everybody. And I'll show you how we do that in just a moment. This is your desktop, and I'm going to be referring you to go back to your desktop or your workspace. It's your personal workspace. Okay, this can be password protected. And I know here in California, you know, the kids, California kids, we need to password protect these kids. But I think you guys are in Virginia, aren't you? So Virginia kids, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about password protecting things because they all just don't get into other people's stuff.
Right.
If you want to learn how to do that, though, we can do that in just a moment. After they've been using this for a while, they've gone through the keyboarding program, then they're going to start doing documents. And they'll press N for new file, and we'll do this. But their documents are going to be listed right here on the left. And if they want, they can have folders on here. But it's a very organized, simple, no distraction workspace. There's no colors, there's no fonts, there's no borders, there's none of that stuff. Okay, that's part of what makes this so successful, is that it's very simple and very focused. There's no games, no internet, no nothing. We want them to get started with their keyboarding. When they're done with their keyboarding, we're going to have them do writing. And they're going to have their files or create a new file, and they're going to be listed on the left. So it's very, very simple, very, very focused. Would you do this for me? Press escape, and you can tap escape 3 or 4 times because you're going to go into this very first student login screen. That's like the #1 screen. Because these are going to be shared, this is where the next class would create a login for themselves. They press N for a new student. We can have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different classrooms using the Forte at the same time. Okay, every Forte should have a number on it. Robert and Jimmy and Gloria are all going to share unit number 5. Okay, they get number 5, they turn it on, they will see their name there, they highlight it and they press enter, and they move into their own personal workspace. And every day your students will have that same number. That will be their unit all year long, unit number 5. And if anything happens to it, it's either going to be Billy or Bobby. It's going to be the kids that are using this that are going to be responsible for it. Okay, there's no, keys should never come off. They don't fly off. They get picked off. They can be pried off. Marks don't appear, scratches don't appear. So basically the kids, this is what I would tell my students, look at you and 2 or 3 other students are going to share this unit all year. This is up to you 3 or 4 or whatever to take good care of it. And we expect to see it in really good shape at the end of the year. And if it's not, then you'll be held responsible for it. But that's the way these units are going to be used. They're going to be rolled in. They're going to be picked up off the cart. I have unit number 5. That's my unit. I'm going to take it back to my seat. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to open my work folder and get started. What I'd like you to do, sorry here, I'm going to go back one. Open to your desktop. Your name or that student that you created is going to be at the top left. Perfect Form is our keyboarding program. That's going to be on the right. These programs on the right can be initiated by just tapping the P key. Okay, or the first letter of any of these will initiate the program. So either highlight it and press enter, or tap the P key, and you'll open up our Perfect Form program. You should see this screen, this startup screen. Are we all there on this screen? Okay. What I'd like you to do is, in most cases, the kids are going to press begin lessons and go and get started wherever they left off. For our purposes here, what I'd like you to do is press P for practice, or highlight practice and press enter. And what we're going to do is we're just going to practice. This allows us to go to any lesson, and what I'd like you to do is type the letter 3 in this little box in the center. Basically, which lesson do you want to practice? We want to go jump to lesson 3. So type in the lesson 3 there, and how do you move forward?
Enter.
Thank you. Press enter. It will take you to lesson number 3. And all the lessons are almost identical. They start off with this: press all home row keys to begin. So go ahead and press them all, not the space bar, just the 8 home row keys, and you'll see your lesson appear: ASDF space, ASDF space, drill and practice space, AAA space, SSS. There's no backspace. We don't want kids backspacing. They'll get to know the backspace key very, very well soon enough. We want to establish home row hand position. We don't want their fingers to ever leave the home row. Okay? Are you all engaged in your lesson there?
We are.
Okay. Now, be aware, I told you that it's going to flash very soon. Press all home row keys, so be ready. When it flashes, you need to stop, press all home row keys as quickly as you can. Try to score a home row point. You need 2 home row points to pass. Okay? Good luck to all of you. I'll be back with you in about 90 seconds.
We are diligently typing.
Excellent. It was funny. I was at a conference. I'll tell you this while you're working. A teacher came by and he pointed to me and he pointed to our booth and he said, "That's the quietest 15 minutes of my day." And you'll see as you just look around the table, all of you are quietly and very diligently engaged in your keyboarding. You're focused on your screen because you don't want to miss that home row signal. It's a very concentrated practice. There's no games, there's no aliens, there's none of that. Uh-oh, hey. In 90 seconds, you're going to be given a score. It sounds like at least somebody passed. I should have told you, but I don't expect anybody to pass the first time. It's really a challenge. So anybody that didn't pass, you're still a very good person. This is not no reflection on you at all. You may be an excellent typist, too. Some people that are really good typists really get mad if they don't pass. It's the home row points, as you can probably see on your screen. The reason you didn't pass is the home row. It's tricky, it's challenging. Go ahead and press enter, and you'll move past this scoring screen. Oh, and I'm sorry, I think you go back to your screen again. Do this. Let's go practice again, okay? And this time practice number 5. Let's go to lesson 5. And do it one more time, okay? Practice one more time and pick out lesson number 5. Ignore what I'm saying here. Are you guys doing the next lesson?
We are.
Okay, good. And I think 5 is a combination of left and right hand home row. So it's going to be a lot of drill and repetition. That's what keyboarding is. We want to build a muscle reflex. Okay? We don't want them to, they'll look initially, they'll think about it initially, but after the drill and practice every day, 15 minutes, pretty soon it's just going to become a reflex, like it is for you and me. We don't need to be looking anymore. Okay? We just think about what we want to write. We don't think about creating a B. We're thinking about what we want to write, what we want to say, and that's where your kids are going to get. They're going to be thinking about what they want to write, what they want to express. They're not going to be thinking about how do I capitalize a K or an R and looking into the chart at the top of the board there and seeing how do I create that capital T again. Those letters are tough. Keyboarding is such a huge power tool when it comes to writing. Good luck. I hope you pass this time, everybody. Do you see how that home row works, though? And you can see why. You don't have to press them hard. You really don't. You just have to bop them. You just have to hit them. And actually, it's only going to be 3 keys on each side is the requirement, but we don't tell the kids that. But it takes some practice. This is going to be the biggest snag for your kids. The ones that don't move along quickly, it's going to be the home row. Let's do this. What I'd like you to go back into this menu screen. Okay? And now what I want to show you is our shift key lesson. This is where you're going to have to be engaged with the kids. Once they get started with their lessons, they're all on their own. But the shift key requires some instruction. Okay? And that is, like I was saying, the right pinky and the left pinky. But if you go to practice lesson 24, you'll see the first shift key lesson. And the contrast needs to be just right, but this shift key lesson explains how to go about creating a shift, a capital letter. We call shift, tap, return. Do you see that on your screen? So what you're going to want to do, though, is you're going to want to stop your class after about 3 or 4 days. As kids, some of your kids are entering into this, I would stop the class and I would do a whole class instruction. Even for the kids that aren't there, they will be there shortly. So just let them know the shift key's coming up. This is how it's done. Let's all practice. Go to lesson 24 and lesson 25, and let's work on the shift. You'll need to explain to them how it works. You're going to need to explain to them that's the only way it works for the lessons there. They can only capitalize properly, and that's by using the alternate pinky motion. Do this for me. What I want you to do is I want you to practice the first shift key lesson, just so you're familiar with it. And we don't have to do it all, but just a little bit of it. But go back, if you need to press escape, go back to this menu again. And what I want you to do is this time go to practice, and we're going to go to lesson 25. So you're going to hit the key for practice, and then you're going to type in 25 and press enter. So go to this keyboarding menu screen, type P for practice, type in 25 and press enter. But what you'll see is it'll be capital F space, capital J space, capital F space, capital J space. They're going to be toggling back and forth and getting that motion, getting that rhythm, beginning to develop that habit of alternate pinky shifting. They'll still have to do the home row, so their hands will have to stay in place. This is really a challenge. Go ahead and tell me if you're having any questions, any comments. Let me know right now. If the incorrect shift key will not work. So because we require kids to do it properly, that's the way they do it. And because that's the way they do it, they develop perfect form, alternate pinky motion. And this is really what we want to see from kids. This will allow them to become really fluent keyboardists. They won't have to look. They're just going to go like crazy. This is what they want to be doing. They want to be typing their papers. They want to be typing quickly. Fluency, we call it keyboard fluency. I mean, I think you can see even 90 seconds of this is I mean, it takes a lot of energy. So if you did this for 15 minutes, you'd be going like, wow, that's exhausting almost. 15 minutes is plenty of time. Okay, some kids can go 20 minutes, some can go 30 minutes, but for the most part, if you can just allow 15 minutes a day, you're going to see really good things happen. Here's what I'd like you to do now, please. Go back to the desktop. And if you would look at my screen for just a moment, I know a lot of the questions are like, what do I do? How do I start? What's my first day look like? And I don't know what kind of resource materials you guys have. This is important. We have these, these posters that show exactly what we want to see from our students. And this really is where you are kind of fully engaged as a teacher and actually are going to be doing some very directed instruction. And that's what we call the ready position. And this is going to be critical. This is what we want to see kids get into, this ready position. Okay? And we say, there's a position when you're at bat or when you're shooting baskets, or there's a very specific position for a lot of things that we do in life, and keyboarding is one of them, and this is kind of a lifelong skill. You're going to be sitting up straight, feet on the floor, elbows at your side, wrists are straight, and there's two other things here that are really critical, and I don't know if they're in the posters, but one is the keyboard needs to be slid right to the front edge of the desk. This allows their elbows and their wrists to fall straight against their side. Okay? If their keyboards are in the middle of their desk, then they have a really tough time reaching, their elbows flare out, it's terrible. So this has got to be part of your ready position. Keyboards at the front of your desk. Another part has got to be your buns on the front edge of your chair. Okay? So that's the only way that their backs are going to be straight and their legs can fall and reach the floor. Their feet can reach the floor. So they may need to scoot their chair a little bit, scoot up. They need to have a nice distance between the desk and themselves, very comfortable. So basically the first day, this is it. The keyboards don't come on at all. Okay? It's just setting up the logistics, just getting them ready to start the program. And that's the ready position. So I know when I help my wife start up her lesson, I teach them this and I say, what position do you take when you watch TV? Okay, I know you got a position for that, and of course they know what that is. They kind of just all get in a very relaxed position, on the chairs. But I say, when you hear ready position, when you hear me say those words, ready position, I want to see you jump and get moving in this ready position, like you see here in the poster, like we described or shown, modeled, quickly and quietly. So then I say, ready position. And they love doing this. They move as quickly as they quietly. They want the praise. And great job, Billy, Bobby, Mary, Susie, group 1, group 2, excellent job. Let's see if we can do it again, quicker and quieter. Because when they come in your room, you're going to want to say ready position, and you want them to snap to it. And they like those kind of things. They like to know exactly what's expected of them. And if you tell them those key words, ready position, that's their cue, then this is what you're going to want to see from them. And when you're walking around the classroom or looking out from your desk and you're looking out and they're slumping or whatever it is, you're going to say, hey, ready position, group 1, excellent, that type of thing. You want them to know exactly what that means, ready position. And they should be able to tell you, feet on the floor, back straight, elbows at their sides, buns on the front edge, keyboard on the front edge. If you're very, very strict on this, your first and second day, you will have a great program. Walk in, just get the logistics of starting the program all into place. And then the other thing that we discussed at length was the home row requirement. So once they have this, now you're going to describe the home row and the home row requirement with the unit turned off. This is critical. Every day for the first week, when you say home row or ready position, boy, they should be so quick, so quiet. There they are. They're on board. They've turned their units on. They're engaged in their classroom. They're sitting up straight and tall. You're still going to have to go around and monitor, make sure their spacing is right between their chest and their desk. I've done this so many times with my wife's class now. Make sure their buns are in the front edge. Their hands are nicely positioned, nice and round. Just going to go around and do that with them. But then it's just quiet. They're engaged. They're going along. You'll hear them, moan when they don't pass and give themselves a little yay when they pass. And they're going to want you to see what lesson they're on, all that kind of thing. But it's going to be quiet. They're going to be fully engaged, and they're going to be just working on their keyboarding. Any questions so far?
How will the teachers know where the students are in their lessons?
Mostly it's going to be by monitoring. That really is the best way. The kids can keep track of their lessons. They can create a report. If reporting is really important, they can send a report to the computer. and get a printout. A lot of times when I'll go in my life class, I'll say, who's passed less than 30? Oh, and 5 hands go up. Well, who's passed less than 25? Raise your hand if you're passed less than 20. And I'll kind of walk back that way, and I'll kind of see, there's some kids, there's about 6 kids that haven't raised their hand. I want to check out those kids because I want everybody to move along pretty well. So if they're really struggling, again, it probably has to do with the home row requirement, and they may need some extra work, some extra practice on doing that. If they're really struggling, I'll turn that off. It depends on what the requirements of the classroom or the district or the school are in terms of tracking and monitoring these kids. Most of the schools that we work with just do it informally, and some do it more formally. They'll have the kids write down what lesson they're on and submit it to the classroom teacher, because they'll see it anytime they turn on their unit. It'll say where they left off. But basically, as teachers, you're going to want to see them have that great body position as they're working. That's going to be a sign that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then you're just going to want to know that they're moving along. They're all going to be at different rates, but we're most concerned about the ones that are way, way back. I had somebody tell me, another school, they said, oh, it's wonderful, it's going great, all of our kids finished. But one teacher was really disappointed because one of her kids was still on lesson 7 when everybody else was finishing up. And I thought, lesson 7, and other kids are on lesson 100? It was obvious that the teacher was not monitoring, was not kind of checking to make sure that her class was moving along. And so one kid, spent weeks and weeks and weeks doing lessons 6 and 7 over and over again. So that's just kind of basic teacher monitoring there. Basically, it's broken down this way. I think I'd start the kids off. You guys are so lucky. You've got these brand new keyboards. You guys are going to learn the keyboard really well this year. You're going to be typing. Won't even have to look at your screen. Some of you are great typists. Show them what it means to be a great typist. Look, you talk, I'll type. I don't even have to be looking at my keys. I could be typing. I'm not even thinking about letters. I'm thinking about what I want to say, how I want to express myself. They're amazed. They want to do that. You're going to do the same thing. We've got these great keyboards here, but there's a few things that you're going to have to do for me. It's going to be a quiet. Logistically, you're going to do the pickup. This is how we're going to pick them up and come to our seats. This is how we're going to put them away. All of it's going to be done, in a very orderly fashion. So establish those things right off the bat. The other thing is ready position. Every time we do keyboarding, this is the position you're to take. You describe it, have kids model it, have a group model it for you. Watch group 1. Okay, everybody just kind of relax in group 1. When I say ready position, watch everybody, watch group 1 or row 1. Ready position. Great job. Wow, look how quick, how quiet. Their backs are straight, their feet are on the floor. Let's do it the whole class. So the logistics of getting started and putting away, the ready position, and then the home row hand shape, that's it. Then they're on their own. They walk in, they pick up their keyboards, they know exactly what to do. When you say ready position, they know exactly what that means. And we only have 15 minutes, kids, so let's get started. And that's it. Time to put them away. Group 1, take yours back, whatever kind of logistics. And then they roll into the next classroom. These could easily roll into 4 classrooms a day. And then often, in some cases, they're going into 8 classrooms every day for keyboard instructions. 8 classrooms every day, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade classrooms. And they just have a very tight schedule, and they roll them in, roll them out, roll them in, roll them out. Any questions at all about the keyboarding? I hope you can do it every day for 15 minutes. Okay. You will love what you see, and we hear this often that kids will tell their teachers, some years later, oh, best thing I ever learned in your class was the keyboarding, and it's a little disappointing to hear that because you do a lot of great things, but it's such an important skill for them, and they'll really, really appreciate it for many, many years. You can imagine all the writing they do in middle school, all the writing they do in high school. To have this skill in place is a great, great thing.
How do you set the date?
Pardon me?
How do you set the date?
To set the date, go ahead and press escape. And keep pressing it until you go all the way back to the login screen. Press the menu key, and then arrow to setup, and you'll see set clock. Press enter. Ignore the time. Don't worry about the time. Just arrow down to the date, and then just type the date as you see it there. It'll be 11/07/12. And at some point, I would just have one of the classrooms do this. Press escape, press menu. Can I show you one thing quickly, though? One more thing. There's a lot on board the Forte, and a lot of it the kids will kind of grow into naturally, but open up your work folders again. And the desktop it should look something like you see on the screen right here. Now, you've gone through the keyboarding. You've gone through 125 lessons. Your kids are really quite good now. It is time. You can do another level. You can raise the benchmarks and do it again for 15 minutes again for another 6 weeks, and that'll just get them to move quicker and faster and so forth. What you should also be doing is using this as a word processor. You do a lot of writing. Let's do it on this Forte here. What I'd like you to do is press N for a new file. Just press the N key, and it'll say create new file. What I want you to do is name it Saturday. Type in the file name Saturday, and then what do you do to move forward? Press enter. You should have a blank screen. And what I'd like you to do is type Saturday is a wonderful day. So maybe this is like, we're doing a paragraph, basic paragraph writing, kids. We need a little review. What's your favorite day of the week and why? So Saturday is a wonderful day. Everything is right on the line. It's all legible. Just move the cursor using the arrow keys at the bottom left. Kids are very good at this too, of course. I mean, they're very, very quick at picking this up and learning it and that type of thing. But what I just want to show you a few things here. Place the cursor anywhere on the word wonderful. Now between the 9 and the 0, right up at the very top row, you'll see a thesaurus key. Press the thesaurus key again and again and again and again and again. And there are multiple groups of great synonyms. Kids default, as you know, to a very simple vocabulary when they write, because they want to write words that they know how to spell. And they just are kind of locked into this little bowl of words when they write. And I know you guys, because I did it all the time, every day, I want more interesting, more specific, more exact, more detailed language. Bring your writing to life. And you bring it to life by using better vocabulary. And you brainstorm words on the wall. I bet for Halloween stories or fall stories, and that helps them, oh, that's a good word, and they use those words. A thesaurus at the press of a button is a huge help for kids when we're trying to help them improve vocabulary. So as you arrow around those words and press the thesaurus key, just press enter when you find one that you like. For me, I chose magnificent, and I press enter. So now Saturday is a magnificent day. That's a great tool to have. This is going to be all about improving writing. And I know you've got to learn the keyboard because the tests are online. But this is not going to help them just do better because they can keyboard. Their writing skills are going to really accelerate too because they're using a word processor when they write. And it's legible. And they can change and delete and add and rearrange simply by pressing buttons. Right above the 8 is a font size key. They can just tap that font size to select the font that they like. One thing that you might do is the F7 split screen. Let's see, I'm going to get it off my PowerPoint here. Press the split screen key, F7. Now, do you ever have science vocabulary words you want kids to use? Or you have a spelling word list? Or something in social studies and you want them to write a paragraph using these 5 words, this is where they can log in those words. Or in this case, when they're talking about a paragraph on Saturday, they might use it to brainstorm. Why is Saturday your best day of the week? What makes it so great? So here they can type in sleep in. So go ahead and type in sleep in and press enter. Do you see the sleep in go at the top left? And type in pancakes, because I like to eat pancakes every Saturday, watch cartoons, go shopping, whatever it might be. But this is going to be that important part of the writing process where they brainstorm their ideas, their support. After you've typed in 3 or 4 ideas, just like it says on the screen there, press escape to exit. And now they have a little outline on the left-hand side. If they want to get rid of that, if they want to get out of that, remember escape is always the out button or back button. And so they can hide that list of words or ideas, that outline, and they just press the F7 key, the split screen key, to see that list. Any question about that split screen feature? I am going to, I know you had a question, Karen, about the writing checklist, and I want to show you that in just a moment. Press escape to get out of your Saturday file, and go back to your desktop, and you should see Saturday right there. Do you see that, everyone? Everything that they've done is automatically saved in that file. That file is automatically saved in their workspace. They cannot lose anything. The only way they can lose anything is to delete it. And if you press highlight Saturday file and press delete, it's going to say, warning, are you sure you want to delete this? Okay, so they can't lose an assignment. They can't leave it at home. They can't get it messed up. It's always going to be there. They can open it up. They pick up right where they left off. You're going to have them read them and share them, and you're going to constantly be saying, look for opportunities to improve it. How can we improve? We can add, we can elaborate, we can use the thesaurus, we can provide more detail, more support, all the kind of things you're working on in class. And they will do that. They're willing to do that because it's so easy to do.
I have a teacher
Look for opportunities to improve.
I'm sorry, Joel. A teacher just asked if you can print from, if they can have the students print from these.
You can. Now, can I get to that just in a moment?
Sure thing.
On your desktop, you'll see writing prompts on the right-hand side. This is a fun, easy thing to do after they move along in their keyboarding and they're ready to use this as a writing tool. Just tap the W key and you'll see writing prompts show up. There are over 40 writing prompts here. You'll see the title, and you can select one for the kids. I want you all to go to baby. Everybody go to baby and press enter. And it says there's a basket outside your front door. Someone has left a baby creature in it. Describe the creature and what you do with it. Be sure to include. And then there are some sub-prompts. At the very bottom it says press enter to begin writing. So I want everybody to press enter. The prompt is at the top. They scroll all the way down, and they can talk about how one day they woke up and they found this baby creature on their front doorstep. And it's fun. They get to use something with buttons on it, a digital tool. They always like that. And you're reminding them about their home row, and you're reinforcing all the stuff you've worked on, the ready position. So as they write with this tool, you're also going to be reminding them and reinforcing them on the basics of good keyboarding too. Okay, so that's that application side of thing. Just wanted to show you that. Go ahead and press escape to get out of that writing prompt. Sending to a computer. You can send it to a thumb drive if you look on the screen right here. Sending I talked about you could send a keyboarding report or a math report or a spelling report, but you can also send a file too, and of course your kids are going to want to do this. You can copy a file to a thumb drive, and they can take it home and work on it there if they have something special that they have. There's also a cable. You can plug in a cable to the unit and into the computer to send, or you can use a wireless infrared. I don't know if you guys purchased that. But basically, here's a screenshot of a Word document. All I would do is open up a blank page, just like I was ready to type, and I would plug in the Forte into my computer. There's no software. I don't configure anything. I just open up a Word document just like I was going to type. And then with the file open on my Forte, like the Saturday document open, in my classroom, they always had to read it over on the screen multiple times. I didn't want them to go to the computer, print it out, until they had really read it over a number of times on the screen. But then at some point, they need to go ahead and send it. This is what they would do. They plug it in, and they would press the send key on the Forte. And like they were typing at 300 words per minute, all the text flows out onto the screen. It always starts off with a nice heading, student name, teacher name, file name, and the date. And then the body of their text, and then at the bottom you can have a good writing checklist automatically appear. So they know what the targets are, that they're being held responsible for basics, in this case basic mechanics and punctuation and so forth. They don't just hand it in and say, here, I'm done. They have to go through, I capitalize words, I use correct punctuation and so forth. And there are 7 writing checklists on board. On your Fortes, can you open up your Saturday document? But if you open up your Saturday document, press the menu key, and you'll see there's lots of tabs there for setup. I just right to the right of the space bar is the menu key. I want to show you that, but press escape. Hold down the Alt key. I'll show you the quick trigger here. Alt-C, Alt-C, and that will show you the writing checklist selector. And you can arrow to the right or the left to see all the different writing checklists. So in the case of Saturday, I told my class that I want them to write a perfect paragraph for me about their favorite day of the week. It's have a topic, sentence, body, and a conclusion. I would have them go Alt-C and select perfect paragraph and then press enter. And so now when they send their paragraph to the computer, the checklist will be perfect paragraph. And you know that a paragraph is a very specific type of a document. It has a topic sentence that does this, it has body sentences that do these things, and it has a conclusion. All of that will be spelled out here. And it's just a great guide for our students. They know what our targets are. And if they know what they are and they have a digital processor, they're likely to try to get there. That good writing checklist is really a neat feature when it comes to writing. Or they can select none. You can have them select none, or they can always delete it on the computer if they don't want to have it or you don't want to have it on there. Start with the keyboarding, then slowly migrate. The kids will want to use this as a writing tool. They'll want to do their writing sentences. They'll want to do their work on the processor, on the Forte when they can, when you allow it. It's more likely to bring out the best in them because they're so engaged in it. They can change things all the time to make improvements. And if you give them suggestions, they don't go, oh, I'm done, I'm toast. They'll say, oh, I like that idea. And they'll go back, place the cursor in their text, and add or delete, change, rearrange, that type of thing. And if you want to talk more about the writing after you've done the keyboarding or something, just let me know. I know you've got a lot going on. You're really, really busy. I think what you're going to find, though, once you get into the program, you're really going to be glad you did. I know the students will be, too. Like I said, it's really it's a great skill for kids to have. And they'll be producing a lot of great work for you this year on a computer. And you'll know that it's theirs because you've taught them the skill. It won't be typed by their brother or by a mother or father or something. Anyway, best of luck to all of you. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Joel,
yes.
Just one quick question. If they want to delete a student's folder, let's say if we wanted to delete the
I'm sorry, I lost that, Karen. You want to delete it?
Right. If we want to delete a student's folder, for instance, the one we created for ourselves today.
Sure.
How would they do that?
Just go ahead and press Escape to go back to the folder. Where you're in that new login screen, you press Escape 5 times until it doesn't change and the name is right there.
Okay.
If you want to delete something, highlight it and press the delete key.
Okay. All right.
It'll say, are you sure? I mean, you're going to destroy everything. If you've password protected this, it can't be deleted except by the person that has the password. Okay? But that's how you delete the folder that you're in. All right.
Well,
thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Bye now.